everyone, and welcome to our episode of M&A Empowerment. I am thrilled to introduce you to my friend and colleague, Caroline Banzali, who is a partner and a leader of our M&A tax practice here at Withum. So, Caroline, if you could give us a brief intro and tell our viewers your role in the M&A process.
Thank you, Kelsey. It's a pleasure to be with you. As Kelsey mentioned, I lead the transaction tax practice at Withum, and I have 25 years of experience doing this and only this. Started out my career at the Big Four, 15 years in New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. And then after that, spent 5 years at a private equity family office with $3.5 billion under management, where I was head of M&A and also was lead tax counsel. After that, rounding out the M&A bucket list, I actually was at an electric vehicle startup company for about a year. We went from a $2 billion valuation, and we successfully raised $2 billion in 3 months, happily went the route of happy engineering for about 11 months, and then ended up going public via SPAC. So again, ran the gamut, and then found my way back into public accounting and, again, here at Withum. My role in the transaction practice is essentially, twofold, right? On the buy side as well as on the sell side. And on the buy side, we help with transaction due diligence, right? Tax due diligence, as well as transaction structuring. We bridge the gap between the attorneys, the business folks, as well as, basically the numbers people in getting the transaction to the finish line. On the sell side, we do very much the same thing. In addition to due diligence support, we also help out a lot with the structuring aspect of that. And a lot of that is transaction readiness and helping the owners and the sellers understand what that process looks like, but also what their life potentially looks like after that transaction. I also have 2 legal degrees. I actually do not obviously practice law within Withum, but I also have that within my arsenal to help our clients to navigate the various aspects of all transactions.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, with all of that experience, I think it's going to be hard for you to probably pick one, but if you could tell us and our viewers one of your recent successes.
This might sound odd, but one of the recent successes that really resonates with me right now is on the sell side. And it's with a female founder, and she was looking to divest in reaction to an unsolicited bid from a very, very big name. And the reason why this really resonates with me is that I think, talked her out of the transaction. The reason for that was, she was kind of like saying, hey, this is really, really a big deal for me. It was validation from her perspective as a founder, as a woman, to have a big company come to knocking on her door unsolicited with, basically a big check potentially to buy out her business. And what really made me proud of her was that in our discussions, we came to the realization that she wasn't ready to sell, that she did not believe that her business was ripe to sell, although the temptation was there to, again, reap the rewards of that validation, to reap the rewards of her blood, sweat, and tears over the founder times. She realized through our conversations that it wasn't time yet. And from that perspective on, what I ended up garnering was not only a good friend, but also a very, very, good client. In that she brings me in to additional aspects from a capital raise as well as from a potential sale transaction. And from that standpoint, we now have directionally a plan of what it is that she wants and where it is that her trajectory is. And, I'm again, very, very proud of that. And I view that as a success, a personal success as well as a professional success.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like, she had this huge opportunity and, just really wasn't sure what to do or where to go with it. So to have that kind of resource in you and the firm is amazing. Very cool. So, not everything is flowers and roses sometimes in this industry, especially as a woman, as we both know. So especially with your 25 years of experience, what have you seen in the industry in terms of, women in this field? Obviously, we are outnumbered. Could you give us, kind of some insight as to what you've seen and challenges, and looping that into, for our other viewers out there that might be interested in getting into our field or specifically M&A tax? What would you say to them?
Yeah, so Kelsey, that's a great question. When I started my career in M&A tax, I really had to blaze that trail, and I really had to knock on doors and tell folks this is what I want to do. One of my mentors early on, who's a man, right, a male mentor, an ally of mine, said to me, he said, "Well, Caroline, you're not a pigeon, so don't let anybody pigeonhole you. If there is something that you want to do, you are the driver of your career. You're the driver of your own path. It behooves you and only you to blaze that trail. Of course, no person is an island. No person can achieve anything without a team and without support. So my advice, I guess, is number one, if whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that anybody wants to do, right, you set that goal for yourself, because without a goal, without a target to hit, you won't know where to aim, right? Number two, don't be wary or self-selective. Don't tell yourself, I've heard so many times, Kelsey, and I think that you have too, we're women in a man's world, a woman in a man's world. And I really disagree with that. Just because right now we're outnumbered, imagine, 25 years before, right, when I started out. I can tell you that in the Big Four, in the transaction team, we had one partner, one woman
Wow.
partner. She wasn't married. She didn't have children. And she actually told me, she said, Caroline, if you quote unquote want to have it all, I am not your role model. Don't view me as a woman, view me as a leader, view me as a partner in this practice. And that's the right way to view it, right? So number one is, figure out for yourself, what is it to have quote unquote all, right? Number two, what are your priorities? What is that you want to do? And number three, most importantly, don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do, because only you know what you're capable of and what you're willing to put out there in order to achieve it. And I, for one, can tell anybody that, that it might not always be easy, but there are certainly, role models, mentors, allies, regardless of gender, that are happy to help to develop you and provide you the opportunities, but you really do have to seek them.
Right. We have to advocate for ourselves in these situations. Awesome.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Not only advocate, but we really have to think about what it is that we want, right? So again, have that goal, set yourself a target, and you'll hit it every single time.
That's great advice. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of M&A Empowerment with Caroline Banzali, the leader of our transaction tax practice here at Withum. It was so great to have you here. We really appreciate your insights, and we thank you all for joining us. Look forward to seeing you all next time.